doing?
Hey, Dave.
How's Phoenix?
Great.
Hey,
Good seeing
Dave.
you.
How's Phoenix? Everything okay?
Phoenix is nice. It's nice weather, better than the East Coast. And you guys, where are you guys, in Baltimore?
Yeah, we're actually outside. I'm actually my friend Matt's up in Northeast Maryland, and I'm actually outside. I'm in Cockeysville.
Okay.
And I'm in the mountains of North Carolina.
North
Okay,
Carolina.
so you're probably a little chilly up there too.
Yeah.
It's nice and warm out here. Nice sunshine. Good vitamin D. Good place for a Super Bowl.
Nice.
Yes, Dave.
So talk about last night. Were you there for opening night? How was the? It's not like a traditional opening night where like everybody in their media and you have somebody wearing a weird costume walking around being like an idiot.
Yeah.
How was it?
Yeah, it's kind of it's a TV event. I mean, and everybody wants to get attention, and you've got a lot of international media. And there was a guy walking around with a barrel who's been barrel boy for 16 years, so he was pretty into it. But it's just a fun thing, and I think everybody, if you approach it with the right attitude, you don't get too serious about it. But there are a lot of members of the media there. You do get for those who've never been to a Super Bowl, you get the idea of just how widely covered this event is and how it's a worldwide phenomenon. And there's no surprise that it's always the top-rated program in the country every year. So I'm sure this year will be no different. This is a great matchup between two really, really great teams. And last night was a good way to start it off.
And they call it the Andy Reid Bowl. That's what they're going to call it. And right away everybody's like, "Oh, Andy was the coach for the Eagles, and now he's the Chiefs coach." It's like, okay, we're going to have a whole 2 weeks of this stuff. Fantastic. Yeah,
well, it's also been the Kelsey Bowl. It's the Kelsey Family Bowl.
Yeah.
It's the Jalen versus Patrick Mahomes Bowl. So that's the thing. There's a lot of really great storylines for this ball game. So it's going to be, I mean, it's going to be a great one. I would expect it to be a very close, epic kind of football game.
Exactly. Let's talk about the defense for the Eagles. We Adam and I are big Florida State fans. You have Josh Sweat on your defensive line. He was fantastic with Jimbo Fisher in his years down in Tallahassee. What does he bring for this squad? Because he was very good, and I can't believe he was picked in the 4th round. What the heck?
Well, he had the knee injury that he suffered in high school that he never really recovered from.
Mm-hmm.
Gruesome injury. He's gotten really good. I mean, he is. I think I would say for the entire season, he's probably been the most consistent performer on the defensive line, and it's a very good defensive line. He's really long. He's got great burst now. It took him a while to get that knee injury recovered, and he's been outstanding. And Josh is a tough guy. So I think that if you want to look for X factors for Sunday, he might be one of them. Nobody's talking about Josh Sweat. I think he's got a chance to be a really, really tough matchup for the Kansas City Chiefs and come after Patrick Mahomes. But he's fast. He's athletic. We saw him pick off a Dak Prescott pass on the Christmas Eve game and take it to the house. So I know that in high school in Virginia, Chesapeake, Virginia, he was a superstar, rated by one service as the best player in the country, went to Florida State coming off that knee injury.
Mm-hmm.
And great to see him, really wonderful young man, and great to see him healthy and playing so well.
And you guys have a great defense. We're not talking about the 85 Bears here, but you guys are doing a great job, with the defense, shutting out, the 49ers squad a couple weeks ago who lost their quarterback in the first series. So they basically had to get Steve Young off the parking lot, probably playing.
He would have done a better job.
Yeah, he probably would have done a better job. And then you had to, a week before that, you shut down the Giants like it's nobody else's business and told Daniel Jones to go home. So just talk about this defense. They've been swarming at the football all year long.
Yeah, they led the NFL in sacks with 70 during the regular season. The Eagles, last year, look, again, new coaching staff last year. Jonathan Gannon comes in. They were playing well defensively, and then Brandon Graham got hurt in week 2, and they never really got back to that level. So they kind of had a bend but don't break, really struggled to get to the quarterback. They were 29th in the league with all of 31 quarterback sacks. So they went out. They got Hassan Reddick. They had Brandon Graham get healthy. Josh Sweat takes another leap forward. So 4 guys in double digits in sacks, 70 sacks overall during the regular season. They don't give up a lot of big plays. So, that'll be a statistic to watch on Sunday. And they come at you from a lot of different angles. So Patrick Mahomes will have to contend with the Eagles and a pass rush that comes from a lot of different places. And that's really, been the strength of this defense. They've done a great job getting after the quarterback. They stopped the run. They've been able to play with the lead a lot of times, so that's really helped the defense. And Reddick, what a player. He's had, I think, 16 sacks during the regular season, 3.5 more in the playoffs, 19.5 sacks in 19 games. So they don't really get the publicity, the acclaim. They went out and they added Reddick. They added James Bradbury at cornerback. They added C.J. Gardner-Johnson at safety. They drafted Jordan Davis in the first round back in April. So they added Ndamukong Suh and Linval Joseph 10 weeks into the season. It's a really good team, really good defense. They play well together. They're fast. They're tough. And it's going to be a great matchup against, I think, knowing Andy Reid and how he uses his running backs and how devastating Travis Kelce is. And, Patrick Mahomes apparently is healthy amazingly after a high ankle sprain. To get him mobile, it's very much an incredible accomplishment. So, again, great matchup, Eagles defense and Kansas City's outstanding offense.
Hey, Adam, you got a question for Dave?
Yeah, you mentioned about the Kelce brothers, but this is also Black History Month. So Dave, talk to us about how cool it is to have two black quarterbacks, first time in NFL history, playing against each other in the Super Bowl. I mean, I remember when Doug Williams from the Redskins, he went to Grambling, and his head coach was Eddie Robinson, and his coach at the Redskins was Joe Gibbs. So how cool is it to have two black quarterbacks playing against each other in the Super Bowl?
Yeah, and it's something that Jalen has made note of, and he's very proud of it. And it does represent a long road traveled since the days of Doug Williams and the Washington back then Redskins.
Yeah.
And, it's important, I think, for Jalen Hurts. It's important for Patrick Mahomes to be recognized for their quarterback excellence, no matter the color of their skin. So I both are extremely versatile quarterbacks, very highly intelligent. They have everything you want, big arms, really well coached, coachable, demanding, great leaders. It's certainly significant in Black History Month that we've got, for the first time in Super Bowl history, the starting quarterbacks of the game are black. So they have made mention of it. It's just another storyline in a game of many.
Man, you got a question for Dave?
Yes. What do you think the atmosphere is going to be like out there?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be great. Both fan bases are excellent, and we got a taste of it last night at the opening night. A lot of Chiefs fans here. A lot of Eagles fans will be here. So, look, the Chiefs have been in the Super Bowl 3 of the last 4 years. Their fans expect it every year. The Eagles have been now in 2 Super Bowls in the last 5 years. So Eagles fans are starting to expect it. 2 dominant teams, 2 great fan bases. I mean, mutual respect for both organizations, for each other. We have a lot of friends over who work for the Chiefs, who used to work with the Eagles. Not only Andy Reid, but a lot of other coaches and front office people and staff members. So I'm really excited to see. I think it's going to be an awesome atmosphere. Great halftime act in Rihanna. It's going to be fantastic.
Yeah. So, Dave, real quick before I let you go, is there one key that the Eagles could do to bring another title back home to Philadelphia? Because this seems like this year has been Philadelphia. They made it. The Phillies made it to the World Series, and the soccer team made it to the MLS Cup. What else do you guys need for?
Well, we need to win one of them. Number one, that'd be nice.
Yeah. Yep.
Look, I think obviously I could tell you turnovers and scoring touchdowns in the red zone, but I mean, whoever wins the line of scrimmage is in really great shape. That I feel so strongly about that both of these teams have Pro Bowlers up and down their offensive lines. They both put pressure on the quarterback. They win with 4- and 5-man pass rush. They don't have to blitz a lot. I think for the Eagles defense, you've got to find a way to somehow contain. You're not going to stop him, but contain Travis Kelce. And if you can take the football away from Patrick Mahomes, that's great. But I just, from an Eagles standpoint, I think the Eagles just are ready to play a great game. And if the Eagles play their best game and Kansas City plays its best game, I just feel really good that the Eagles will prevail. But we shall see. It's just a game. There's no hidden secrets here. I mean, 2 great teams going at it. Win the turnover battle. Play the smartest football. Don't commit dumb penalties. Don't beat yourself. I will say this. There's only one team that's beaten the Eagles this year, and that's the Eagles. So if they can avoid that on Sunday, they should be in good shape.
That's a good point. You can't have a letdown now. That's the wrong time to do it. You can do
That's
a letdown
exactly
against the Commanders. That's okay. It's all right. But not today. So
That's right.
Well, Dave, anything new going on with PhiladelphiaEagles.com? Anything cool you've been working
Yeah,
on?
I mean, we've got a ton of coverage. We really have a wonderful fan base. Our media this year reached the most fans of any NFL team. So we have a great social media team. We really crank it out. And for any Eagles fans who are watching, who are listening, please check us out on PhiladelphiaEagles.com as well as our social media.
That's cool, Dave. Well, have fun out there, enjoy, and bring the warm weather a little bit towards the East Coast.
It'll get there eventually, guys. Don't be in such a hurry. Thanks so much for having me.
Thanks, Dave.
Yes,
have a
sir.
good one.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks
Take
a lot,
care.
Dave.
All right. Have
Good
a good
luck.
one. Take care. Thank you.
All right, that's Dave Soprano, who writes for the PhiladelphiaEagles.com. So let me get Dana Hughes on the phone. He's out there in Arizona, getting ready for let's do the Chiefs side of things. So you can't have a letdown right now. You really can't. If you have a letdown, then that's the wrong time to have it. You can have a letdown in week 1 through 15, but not this weekend. So
Bingo.
The Super Bowl should be a real good matchup.
Oh, it should be.
Oh yeah,
should be. Last night, Orlando Brown, Matt and I know, who is he's a local kid here from Baltimore who has connections in my girlfriend's family because her Orlando Brown was taught by Nicole's aunt, in school back in the old days in the elementary school. He was there last night, the opening night, and somebody asked about him and his father. So I have a little clip from him. This is courtesy of the NFL on NFL Communications. So here it is.
Yeah, it changed my perspective a lot. Having a dad, obviously, after the age of 15, not having a dad after the age of 15 was very tough for me. And, now having a son that's 2 years old, looking at him every day, seeing the way that he's continuing to grow, and thinking back on, obviously the time missed that you can't get back. And, man, it's so beautiful to be a father every day, to look at my son's eyes, to look at my girlfriend's eyes, and, know that we created a life like this. And, man, I just, if anything, it motivates me more to be as healthy as can be, and to be there and be available for him in every single way that I can be. Yeah, I hope to instill, mental toughness. I hope to instill joy and, someone that is, super motivated from within, that's very confident in who he is, and, really making sure he doesn't make the same mistakes I did. Oh, no, man, we'll have plenty more.
All right, we're trying to get Dana on the phone here. Okay, I guess out in Arizona, a lot of noise out there. Hopefully he'll get back to us, hopefully, here.
Hello, this is Dana.
Hey, Dana, it's Chris Heidel from Herman Radio. How you doing?
All right, how you doing?
All right, thank you so much for taking some time out there. How's Arizona?
Oh, so far so good.
That's good. I know you're busy walking around. Anything cool you've seen in the last day or so?
No, I haven't even really been by the football stuff yet. I didn't go to opening night. Just getting into my room now, literally.
Oh, okay, cool. Nice. Well, let me I don't want to keep you long, but let's talk a little bit about the offense a little bit for Kansas City. I was doing some research today.
Okay.
The rushing is you guys are leading 4.7 in rushing this year. That's better than last year, right?
Yeah, I mean it's been really solid. We obviously with the rookie running back that we have in Isaiah Pacheco, he's been kind of a new infusion of energy and a boost to the run game. I don't think we're ever going to be a balanced team. We just, I've always told people, anytime we run the ball, the best player in the NFL doesn't have the ball. And that's Patrick Mahomes. So you have to gauge how often you're going to, take the ball out of his hands and, kind of take away that magic option. So Like, it's great between Isaiah Pacheco and Jerick McKinnon. We're balanced as we could be. And, it's a great compliment to our pass game.
Yeah. Is Juju going to be available this weekend? Because I know Juju Schuster is he was one of my good person in fantasy football a couple of years ago. I enjoyed having him. Yeah. Is he going to be available?
Yeah, I think as of now, the only receiver that is not going to be available is McCall Hardman.
Okay.
He's been put back on IR. So everyone else is either healthy or working back to healthy. But, with Juju, this being his first time getting to the Super Bowl, I kind of feel like, those are the guys that you're gonna have to pull them off the field in order for them not to play. So, he's been around and he's a veteran, and this is his moment, especially with only signing a 1-year deal. So he's going to try to maximize every one of his opportunities. So I fully expect him to be out there and playing.
Adam, you got a question?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Before I ask my question, I got to give a shout out to my friend Erin Inslee out there in Kansas City. She's a huge Kansas City Chiefs fan, and she loved watching you play when you were wide receiver, Dan. And so, talk to us about it's the Kelsey Bowl, Jason versus Travis. So tell us about what it's going to be like to have two brothers going against each other on Sunday night.
Yeah, I think it's a really cool side story. There's several, not just the Kelsey Bowl, but Andy Reid playing against his old team, Nick Sirianni coaching against his old team. So there's several different storylines that I think are cool. One aspect of this matchup that's really cool is that there's no venom, there's no negativity.
Mm-hmm.
Not like with Philadelphia when they were playing the Niners, there was some little bit of things that were stirred up. Nothing crazy, but just some stuff that was stirred up. And then you had obviously the history between the Chiefs and the Bengals. So the fact that we don't have that kind of makes this more of just a pure football game, which I think is really cool when you consider, for all the football purists out there, the two dynamics of this team. You got a really good defense for the Eagles against the best offense. And then you got a really good offense for the Eagles against a defense that's playing really well. So we've had some ups and downs this year defensively, but when the playoffs have come, our stars have shined the brightest, and I think it's going to be a really good matchup.
Yeah. Dan, talk about Orlando Brown. He's a local kid here in Baltimore. He played with the Ravens for a couple of years. He's from Baltimore. He went out to Kansas City. What has he done? How's his development, right now as an offensive line for the Chiefs?
So he's gotten probably the most criticism, in part because he's the left tackle, trying to protect the best quarterback in the league, as well as being a guy that has basically gambled on himself. And whether he's turned down big offers or hasn't gotten the big offers, in either case, he's not paid to his abilities. I don't think that's been a negative, but he's trying to play for a big contract. So in order to do so, you have to stop the likes of Trey Hendrickson and Sam Hubbard for the Bengals. And now you got the defensive front with Sweat and those guys for the Eagles. He's going to have his hands full. But this is what you ask for. If you want to be paid and considered one of the top tackles in the league, you have to play top tackle football at the top time. And this is their top time. So the focus is going to be on, as it always is, how is Patrick Mahomes being protected? How is he staying upright? How is he going to be how much time will he have to deliver the football to Travis Kelce and everybody else? And that a large part of that is going on the shoulders of Orlando Brown Jr. But I thought he's done a nice job. He's really, to me, been a solid force in the run game. I've been impressed with his run blocking I think a lot of focus, like I said, it goes on pass protection, but his run blocking has really been solid this year. So, yeah, he's going to have his hands full. There's going to be a lot of eyes on him anytime Patrick takes a hit, especially with that ankle. They're going to be looking to see what Orlando Brown did. So we'll see how that unfolds.
Okay. Well, Matt, you get the last question? Go ahead.
Yes. So what will the Chiefs have to do in order to win the Super Bowl?
They will have to protect the football. I kind of go back to what I had said they needed to do when they played the Bengals. If you look at our stats this year, one of the negatives of our team was that our ratio for the giveaway takeaway ratio wasn't very solid. We were actually in the bottom quarter of the league in giveaway takeaway, which normally doesn't equate to a 14-3 record. So that tells you that even though you can have a negative give-take ratio, you can still play winning football, and we've shown that. But go back to that Cincinnati Bengal game, go back to the Jacksonville Jaguars game, and we were plus in those games. We forced the other team to turn the ball over more than we did. Mm-hmm. I feel like that's got to be the same recipe we have to use in this playoffs. And I also feel like we're going to have to force the Philadelphia Eagles to feel like Jalen Hurts has to go throw for throw against Patrick Mahomes. We have to force them to think that. That means we have to put points on the board and then lean on them to get outside of their game plan of running the ball and try to pass their way to a championship. And if we do that, then I feel like we have a good chance to take away the trophy.
Well, that's good. But, Dana, let me let you go. I know you just got in your room, and I want you to relax and get ready for Super Bowl week. Thank you so much for taking the time on the phone with us, and enjoy the rest of your week out there.
No problem. Thank y'all.
All right. See you.
Have a good one.
Yeah, thanks. Good luck.
Thanks, Dana.
All right. That was Dan Hughes, who was the former wide receiver for Kansas City, and that was good. A little shout out to him. That's good stuff there, Adam.
Thank you. Yeah, it's called Aaron. Actually, Aaron Dinsley and her daughter Megan are huge Kansas City Chiefs fans, and actually, Chris and Matt, Kansas City at one time.
I'm in the hotel lobby here, so
that's cool.
You're all good.
Yeah,
that's cool. You're at the media party. So how's everything? How's the food first?
I'm not there yet. I thought I would just do it here at the lobby and then take the shuttle over. I think it goes to like 10 or 11. So, and they're running shuttles over there till 8:30. So, got some time. But I'm hoping the food's good because I'm a little hungry.
Yeah, some good stuff for you. Some good Southwest stuff. It'll be good. So talk about this game coming up. It's been 2 weeks since the 49ers. We had you on for that 49ers game. So what did you take from that game, and hopefully the Eagles could carry it over to this one?
Well, I guess two takeaways are this pass rush, right? But you could say that all year, but it was really on display again against the 49ers, and Kyle Shanahan, for all his alleged offensive genius, did not have a plan to block Hassan Reddick. Shame on him, because Reddick took that game over and destroyed it with the sack of Brock Purdy, knocking him out of the game. And then again, the Ndamukong Suh hits the backup, Josh Johnson, gives him a concussion, so Purdy has to come in, game over. He can't throw the ball, has a torn UCL, going to miss 6 months. But, again, that's not the Eagles' fault. That's Kyle Shanahan's fault for a game plan that just didn't account for an Eagles pass rush that had 75 sacks, including playoffs, coming into that game. So that's my first takeaway. Second takeaway is, Jalen Hurts, again, second straight playoff game, didn't have to do a lot. The Eagles ran the ball very well against the top-ranked defense in the NFL. They put up 148 yards, and they ran for 4 touchdowns. I mean, it just doesn't get any better than that. So, the defensive side, the sack thing, and then on the offensive side, the rushing game were the two takeaways out of that game.
Man, you got a question for Ed?
Yes. What would the Eagles need to do to pull off a win and to ultimately win the Super Bowl? And do you think that the offensive line of the Eagles, do you think that they're going to be able to hold the defense of them back, so then they don't go ahead and sack Jalen Hurts at all?
Well, the key is obviously Mahomes, right? I mean, he's the guy that you have to stop because he's the probable MVP. We'll find that out this week, who the MVP is, but it's going to be Mahomes. And the Eagles are going to have to find a way to contend with him. He can make plays with his feet, keep things alive. But again, this defense, the Chiefs are going to have to figure out a way how to block this defensive front, because once it gets rolling, it's hard to stop. But again, Mahomes is very dangerous back there, so you have to, find a way to get to him, and you have to find a way to cover Travis Kelce, the great tight end, probably a Pro Bowler, playing against his brother. His team won't play against his brother on the field because they're both offensive players, but younger brother Travis Kelce, great tight end and brother of Jason Kelce, but you got to stop Travis. I mean, this guy, he's one of the best tight ends. He's the best tight end in the league. And so the Eagles are going to have to figure out a way, because those are the two key weapons to me to stopping this offense, at least keeping it contained. And that's where it has to start. You can't let one of those guys wreck your game. And then from the Eagles standpoint, what they have to do offensively is, again, I think run the football. That's the best way to keep Mahomes and that offense on the sideline, is to, you eat up some clock with the running game. But I think they're going to try to throw it. They always try to throw early and then run late. And, the Eagles have two great wide receivers that haven't done much in the playoffs, Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown. So, they could look to get those two guys involved early, quick hitting plays, etc., and take advantage of the, some of the mismatches that those guys present on offense.
Well, I know that the Eagles have had a great defense in the playoffs and everything, especially with the last game that they played. Granted, the quarterbacks did all tumble and everything, but they only gave up 7 points. Do you think that they are able to give up 14 points or less to the Chiefs in the Super Bowl?
Yeah, I don't know about that. I doubt it. I think this game will be played into the 20s, maybe into the 30s. I think it's going to, remember 5 years ago when the Eagles beat the Patriots, they played 41-33, offense all over the field. Now, I think the Eagles' defense is better than that defense, but that doesn't mean they're going to hold them under 14 points. No, I don't see that happening. I think the Chiefs will get it into the 20s, and the Eagles are going to have to score right along with them, and they're not going to have to want to settle for field goals because the Chiefs can score touchdowns. So, Nick Sirianni has been very aggressive all season long, going for it in fourth down situations, and I expect more of the same. And he's going to want to score touchdowns and not kick field goals in this game.
Yeah. And these two teams played last year, and last year was a totally different year, up in Philadelphia. Is there anything from that game that, you can see that might help them this year against the Chiefs, or the Chiefs vice versa against the Eagles? Anything they can see?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm sorry. I can't. Yeah, okay. So you guys are lucky I picked you. That's all I'll say. But anyhow, what was the question? I'm sorry. Oh,
they played last year. Yeah. So
you look at the top four tacklers for the Eagles in that game. They're not even on the team anymore on defense. You had Alex Singleton had 11 tackles. Anthony Harris had 10. Eric Wilson had 9, and then Jannard Avery had 7. I mean, those guys are long gone. This is a completely new defense now. I think there might be some aspects you can study to pick up some tendencies, but, you can't look at that game. And the Chiefs dominated that game. I mean, they scored touchdowns on, I think, 7 of their 8 possessions in that game. And, you can't have that in a Super Bowl where you're just not going to win. But, again, this defense is better. I think there's some things you can pick up from that game. Yeah, I mean, if you study the tape and, Nick Sirianni doesn't leave any stone unturned, he'll take a look at it. There's some footage there. Yeah. But, yeah, I think that, what those tendencies are, I really couldn't say for sure because the Eagles were out of it and, they had to kind of alter their game plan a little bit. They settled for a field goal on the first drive and went up 3-0, and that was a mistake. And, maybe that's something you learn is, hey, we can't settle for a field goal in this game. We have to go for it on a touchdown. We have to be able to put 7 up instead of 3 because this Chiefs offense is dangerous. Even against a very good defense like the Eagles, it's still a very dangerous offense.
Yeah, Adam, you got a last question
Yeah.
for Adam?
Now, talk to us about Jalen Hurts. He's been in this situation. He played for a national championship when he was in college, and you think that momentum when he plays for a national championship will help him in the Super Bowl?
Yeah, that was actually a discussion going into the NFC Championship game, was how much, college experience from players like Jalen and Devontae Smith also played for a national title, Landon Dickerson, Jordan Davis, the Georgia tackle, he's on. I mean, there's guys on this Eagles team that have played in title games in college. And I think that kind of translates. But, you look at the Super Bowl, especially this week, it's crazy. There's media everywhere asking questions that the players have to talk every day. We had them today, both the Chiefs and the Eagles, and, everybody's on a podium. And you just go around and ask them questions. You have like about an hour and 15 minutes to go around and talk to them. And that kind of scrutiny, you don't get that in college, so that's a whole different level at this stage of the game. Now, in the NFC Championship game, I think that college experience translates. I'm not so sure in the preparation if it translates, because they don't have this kind of a stage in college before the national championship game. So it'll be interesting. Devontae Smith was funny today. He was asked about distractions. He goes, "It doesn't bother me any. All I do is sleep anyway." So, that was kind of a good answer. But, we'll see how they manage these distractions for a second-year head coach versus a 20-plus year veteran and Andy Reid with a very good staff. The Chiefs have been here 3 out of 4 years in the Super Bowl. They know about these distractions. The Eagles have some guys that have been here from 2018, but not as many as you think. So, we'll see if that college experience becomes a helpful factor for the Eagles this week. I don't know. I thought it was a big factor against the 49ers, but on a stage like this, it's just raised so many levels with the distractions that take place this week.
Exactly. Well, Ed, I'm going to let you go so you can enjoy some fine dining. So thanks for coming on tonight, and enjoy your stay out there in Phoenix.
Yep. Thanks, fellas. Have a good night.
All right,
Yes,
see ya.
sir. Thanks, Ed.
Yeah, I would love to go to the NFL Super Bowl for 1 year.
Same here.
Oh,
Same
yes, that would be awesome.
Yeah.
I'll be running around that place like, my head will chop off,
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's it's I just see things. It's like, wow, these people are great. Out there. And,
I would be like, Adam and Chris, I would be like, am I in heaven or am I in Iowa?
They're like Radio Row. I was watching some people that I know who are on Radio Row right now, and I'm like, really? You're not really doing anything. And it makes me really upset that you're just walking around taking pictures of things. Like, do your job.
Yeah.
Do your job. If not, call me. I'll come out there and take your spot. I'm like, it's like, and I don't understand these, like, I know they have so many media people, and I understand that.
Mm-hmm.
Tons of media people, but it's like, come on, what do you do? You could call some people. So anyway, well, let's wrap up the show here. Thanks for folks for joining us. Thanks for joining us for our Super Bowl preview for this Tuesday night. And there is a birthday today. I forgot. We talked about the Chiefs. The Chiefs did play in the Super Bowl on this date back in 2001, and they did lose to Tom Brady.
Oh, yeah.
And in the forecast for the folks in the desert on Sunday night in Phoenix or outside of Phoenix in Glendale, bring in Dan Israel, who is the part of the Chiefs Radio Network. He does a fantastic job with the pregame show and also the executive producer. So, hi, Dan. How you doing? And how's Phoenix?
I'm doing well, and it's beautiful. When you're from Kansas City, I think it's 30-something there today, and it is not 30-something here in Phoenix. So very happy, very pleasant. The sun just set on us, but I think it was 70 degrees today, so pretty nice day.
Nice. Well, talk about, were you there last night at the opening night? Anything you taken away from it all? That everybody and their brother there, and you got all the weirdos with the barrel walking around. Did you see any weird things? This year, you're going to go. Was that there last year in Tampa?
I don't think I saw anything weird. It definitely, I mean, for us, Tampa Bay was COVID year, so they didn't do Radio Row. They didn't do opening night. But in 2019, they did, and that was very similar. The players come out. I think one of the things that always stands out to me most is that the Super Bowl is such it's a game of a magnitude that is unlike any other. And so the players come out and they're on stage. They're all shooting with their cell phones, the crowd, right? Because they want to remember this moment as well. And so that just goes to show that this is not your average playoff game. It is not a regular season game. This is the Super Bowl. And opening night was on a spectacle equal to that.
So is anybody that you talked – I know you talked to a lot of the Kansas City players throughout the year. You had practice before. Is there anybody that you wanted to talk to that you're like, let me talk to him and see what he thinks about this play? Everybody wants to talk to Patrick and Juju and Kelsey and everybody and Andy Reid. Is there one person you were like, I want to talk to that guy?
Yeah, we really have pretty good, as being Chiefs Radio and as part of the team, we have pretty good access to the players themselves. So really, media night for me isn't an opportunity to really spend time with players. It is an opportunity to just see, friends, to see guys that are a part of the team itself that I don't normally get to see or maybe not get to see at this time of the year. And so for me, I kind of just tried to sit back and enjoy it, to be honest with you. 2019, we did an awful lot of work. It was the first Super Bowl we had done as the Chiefs. And I think I went home and threw away about 80% of the work we had done. So I just decided this year we weren't going to quite work so hard and just kind of enjoy the moment.
That's awesome. That's cool. I was listening to talk radio the other morning. I had to go out late at night here in Baltimore. I had to go get something for my girlfriend. She wasn't feeling well. And I love hearing these conspiracy people on the air. It's like it was this one guy I don't know what he was doing up in New England or something like that, but he was like, Patrick Mahomes' knee is fake. He didn't hurt himself. He did this against the Patriots. Do you hear that all the time around there going like, what are you guys talking about? He has a sprained ankle. Come on, give it a break.
Yeah, the conspiracy theories I think are always amusing to me. And I think it was a couple last year in the AFC Championship. The rumor was that Mahomes threw it. And I just, if you knew Patrick Mahomes at all, you would laugh at it because he's the most competitive individual I've ever been around in my life. There's no way he's throwing a game. And certainly not one that would have sent him back to his third straight Super Bowl. So, but, Mahomes' ankle, I think one of the things that it goes to show is, one, how incredibly tough this kid is. I mean, I've been around him now for 6 years, really 7 with you. If you talk about his rookie season, which he didn't play, he played behind Alex Smith. Tough individual. And 2, how good the Chiefs training staff is. They got this guy ready to go. I mean, every day he progressed and got better. And from all accounts, everything I heard about practice yesterday, Mahomes was dropping these dimes that were catching people that know Mahomes' attention. That's how good he looked in practice. It was like, the guy is ready to play today. Let's go play the Super Bowl.
That's great. But you got to realize you got 4 more days to practice.
Right.
You can't tell Andy Reid, can we just go now? Can we just go over to, get it done? Yeah.
I think it was interesting, when he got hurt in Jacksonville, he would not come out of the game. Right. And so afterwards I asked Coach Reid, I said, what was the deal? And he goes, I just wanted him to get an x-ray. He just wanted to fight. He just wanted to stay in the game. It's like, Pat, it's 10 minutes. Just go get an x-ray. We'll put you back in the game if you're cleared to play. But I love that intensity. And look, would you really want it any other way? I mean, I know you're right. It's a long time between now and Sunday, but you got to love a guy that's just so intense. I guarantee one thing. Look, when it comes to the AFC versus the NFC, one of the things that's fascinating about the Super Bowl is we don't play a lot of interconference games. So you really never know how your conference stacks up against the other conference. You do know about, your own conference. We know how we stack up against the Bills. We know how we stack up against the Bengals. Very intense competition. 3 great teams. It looks as though the Eagles are great this year. It looks like they dominated the NFC, right, for the most part. But I don't know how that stacks up against the AFC's competition. I know our schedule was incredibly tough. I don't think the Eagles were quite as battle-tested as us, but don't know. We'll find that out on Sunday. But I always think it's interesting. One thing I can guarantee you, it's going to be entertaining. And 2, Mahomes, Kelsey, Frank Clark, Chris Jones, none of these guys are taking anything back to the locker room. They're going to leave everything they've got on that field.
That's true. Adam, go ahead.
Yeah. We've first of all, we all picked Kansas City to win the Super Bowl, Dan. You can see Chris and I are wearing Kansas City red tonight in honor of
There
the
you
Chiefs.
go.
And we've been fortunate to have Josh Klinger on our show and DANAN HUGHES joined us earlier. So talk to us how cool it is to have a former Chiefs wide receiver being part of your radio network, and Josh Klinger, and also the voice of the Kansas City Chiefs, Mitch Holthus, who is, to me, one of all-around great guys to have as a play-by-play guy.
Well, with regards to Mitch, I think I hired Mitch 28 or 9 years ago, and it was the right decision, right? I mean, this is a guy that's become iconic in the league. His calls are iconic.
Yeah.
You hear them every day on the NFL Network, whether they peel off the part about touchdown Kansas City or not. You hear him screaming touchdown. So Mitch is a wonderful human being. He's one of those guys. He's just been a consummate team player for the last 3 decades. DANAN is actually new to our network. He just started with me a couple of years ago, although I do remember I've been with the network for 34 years, so I do remember him as a player, and I knew him, but he has been fantastic. There is no one I've met probably in my life that's personified teammate like DANAN HUGHES. And that's, when you talk about a guy that's in the Missouri Sports Hall of Fame, one of the ways he got there was that. And so DANAN's been just an unbelievable addition to our broadcast. And Josh Klinger, consummate radio professional. There's nobody that you can throw at. A couple of weeks ago, we had a game where Mitch Holthus was beating the drum at the beginning of the game. And Kling had to call the game while Mitch made his way back from the drum deck to the booth, and no nerves. It sounded like $1 million. I mean, he's such a smooth radio professional. And again, another guy who would bend over backwards for you, do anything. Both these guys, if we asked them to carry equipment, they would. If we asked them to go run and get something to drink, they would. There's no job they consider beneath them. And I just think that goes to show the character of these 2 individuals, and 3 individuals, really, if you include Mitch. And so I've been pretty blessed. I've got a crew of about 30 people all told, 7 8 of us on the road, 9 of us on the road here. And every one of them, man, I wouldn't trade another individual for.
Yeah. Let's talk about real quickly.
Some of them are in the other room, though, so I want to backtrack a little of that and just say, you can't find good help these days. That's all there is to it.
Are they listening?
I don't know if they can hear it, but they can hear me. So.
Okay.
I love it. So I just moved. I got to ask you, a local guy here, Orlando Brown. We're in Baltimore. Orlando Brown came to you guys from Baltimore. All that stuff. What do you see with his development? Because we talked to Dana before about his development. What do you see in your 2 or 3 years with him?
One of the things that's an unfortunate thing about the National Football League, right, is that position is incredibly important. We lost a Super Bowl in 2020 when Eric Fisher got injured and couldn't play in the Super Bowl. And so, blessed to have Orlando Brown. I think he is a guy who really wants to be that premier left tackle. I think he's getting better. I think he's got a ways to go. I think he can improve. I think he can get better. But I was very happy with the way he played in the AFC Championship. That, I'll tell you, that Bengals team, tough team. They are so good. And, you can't have a weakness. You can't make a mistake against those guys and be victorious. And Orlando Brown had a great day. And he needs to have a good day on Sunday, because I think the Eagles are going to be much the same.
Yeah. Matt, you got a question for Dan? Go ahead.
Yes, Dan, I got 2 questions. First question is the close games you guys had with Jacksonville and with the Bengals. How will that benefit the Chiefs with the Super Bowl game? And the second question is, if the Chiefs are able to come out victorious and win their Super Bowl, what will this mean to the organization, to the fans, and the players of the Kansas City Chiefs?
Yeah, good questions. I think first of all, Coach Reid is talks a lot about iron sharpening iron. Yeah, a lot of coaches talk about that. Coach Reid wants to play the best guys all the time. He doesn't want to play the Green Bay Packers with an injured Aaron Rodgers. He wants to play the full strength team. And the reason he wants to do that is because he truly believes it makes you better. When you play a team that is so good that you can't make a mistake, then you're really elevating your own play. And so I think from the standpoint of the Jaguars, certainly Doug Peterson has turned that franchise around. Really impressed with the job he's done. That was a hot mess a year ago. And he's made them into a playoff team, and frankly, probably will contend for the next few years. I think when you look at the Cincinnati Bengals, that game was a pick 'em from the get-go. I mean, it was going to be the last guy with the ball, and it didn't go our way last year. It went our way this year, and so I think they want to play good teams, and they want to be the best at what I think they always want to play good teams. I just think they want to stay sharp like that. Remind me of your second question. I'm sorry.
Yes, the second question is, if the Chiefs are able to win the Super Bowl, what would it mean for the organization, the fans, and the players?
Yeah, it's interesting. We were talking about Tyreek Hill. Tyreek Hill's an outstanding wide receiver, but he's not a first ballot Hall of Famer. Deion Sanders wasn't a first ballot Hall of Famer. 2 rings might have made a difference there. It is a big deal. It is not easy to win one. It is not easy to get one of these. To get 2 of them is beyond double the work. And I think the Chiefs were fortunate to have a shot in 2020. Last year didn't go our way. I think they probably learned more from that loss than they did from the win in 2019. And I think you got guys like Mahomes, like Kelsey, Frank Clark. You got guys that were on this team, Chris Jones, that are going to be fired up. They know how rare this opportunity is. And I think there's a huge difference between teams that won 1 Super Bowl, even teams that won 1 Super Bowl and went to 2. If you look back to the 1960s in the Kansas City Chiefs heritage, Lynn Dawson won an amazing amount of championships. I think they won 4 championships. They were in 6. They went to 2 Super Bowls, won 1, lost 1. Lynn was a Hall of Fame player, unquestionably deserved that. But I think there's a huge difference between guys that have won 1 Super Bowl and guys that have won 2 or more. And so I think it's a big deal for the franchise. I don't know if anybody would come out and say it outright, but I think it's a big deal.
And it's also for Lenny, because Lenny passed away. So it's a good thing for, so if you win the Super Bowl, it makes him feel, his family would be like, hey, here's a Super Bowl ring for you.
It would be incredibly nice to, the players have won the number 16 on their helmets and jerseys all year long. It'd be pretty cool to get Lenny, 1 more Super Bowl. I think Lynn would have appreciated that. I think one of the things that always bothered Lynn was the amount of time that, went by with it. He carried the torch for so many years. He didn't want to be the crowning jewel for 50 years. He would have taken 10 or 20, but 50 years is an awful long time. And I think it would be a special thing to win one in this year for Lynn Dawson.
That's cool. Well, Dan, let me let you go. I know you want to get yourself relaxed. I know you got a lot of stuff to do this week in Phoenix, and have fun. Have a great time, and soak it in, because you never know. Like you said, you don't know you're going to go back there next year. You never know. This might be but with the way Kansas City's playing these years, it might be back there next year in Vegas. High rolling.
Could be. You never know, but we're definitely going to enjoy this one just in case, right?
Yeah. Yep. Well, thanks for being part of our show, and have a great time.
Thanks, guys. Go Chiefs.
Go Chiefs.
Go Chiefs.
Yes. All right, that's Dan Israel, executive producer and co-host of Chiefs Radio Network out there in beautiful Kansas City, Missouri.
Now, Chris, it's called. We've had Dan Hughes and Josh Klinger on.
We need to get Mitch on. I got to work this weekend. I got to get the old Herb FM phone rolling up.
Oh, I know. But in the future, I need to have.
Good. You ready to go? I got to record right now. We're just doing the tape real quick, so we can put it on later. So, okay. That's cool. So, talk about out there. How's everything going out there in Phoenix? It's really quiet during the Super Bowl. Not a lot of chatter about the 2 different teams. Yeah, no, it's done well. But if you just hold on 1 second. Sure. We're just talking about the Super Bowl on Sunday. What do you see with these 2 teams there? That's the balance. Yeah, Jalen Hurts is only thrown 20 passes, but they didn't have the lead in the second half. And then, the 2 tackles for Kansas City that have to hold up Wiley and Brown. Should be a very competitive game. I can see this going either way.
going to be one of those high scoring games, or going to be one of those like defensive start?
I think it'll be pretty high scoring, especially in the second half. That's simply Super Bowl's typically start off a little bit slow, and then they kind of ramp up that.
You've been a former GM of the Jets. I got to ask you, last night, Vita's getting in the Hall of Fame. Did you draft him when you got to New York? I did, and proud to have done that with a whole bunch of other people. And Burrell was a really good person and a really good player, and really got through him. That's a big deal. Good for you. I said it in your chat. You got a Hall of Fame, in your career. That's awesome. Yeah. Talk about out there. Anything exciting that you're going on that you're on the East Coast for 2 years ahead of you? Yeah, we got here a lot of the injuries later. Any injuries that you want to experience? No, I think it's pretty well covered. It should be a very competitive game, and looking forward to it. I think it should be ultimately a one-score game.
It wasn't password protected.
So you've been doing. How many years have you been on the ESPN? 4 years, 5, 6 years.
Nothing
Is it easy to be a broadcaster? What's the hardest thing to do?
I'll check again to see if there are any
Just make sure that you're prepared and have fun doing it. And it's a great opportunity. Yeah, one last question to ask you. I know you're a busy guy. You used to coach Rex Ryan. So what's it like working with him as a coach and even with ESPN? He's great. He's funny, insightful. He's tremendous. I like him a lot. And hopefully he gets opportunity. Well, Mike, I'll let you go. I know you're a busy guy. Thank you so much.
It doesn't list the ingredients. It doesn't have to.